With Borderlands 4 right around the corner, I wanted to look back at the Vault Hunters from Borderlands 3 and essentially just do a re-review for them in 2024. This essentially means that each of these characters has pretty much everything that's going to be added to them in the game already, and they are at their peak kind of ability as is. Now, something I want to kind of say before we get into this video is that each of these characters is insanely strong in their own right, and I actually think that the Borderlands 3 Vault Hunters in general are some of the strongest in the entire franchise. Now, obviously, characters like Zero and Salvador from Borderlands 2 are insanely strong in their own right, but I think these characters kind of are an amalgamation of each of those other characters and are able to do a whole lot of, insane in-game content in their own. So with that being said, let's look at number 4, essentially the character that is the, I guess, worst of the best options coming from Borderlands 3. At number 4, it's going to be Flak. Now, Flak is the hunter pet character of the game and really focuses into, again, crit damage and working with its different pets is available to you. These pets are pretty dang strong and can really help you in a pinch, picking you up off the ground if you get knocked down, which is pretty frequent with Flak because he's kind of that glass cannon character of the game. Now, even though Flak is that glass cannon character of the game, they are pretty dang strong and able to pretty much handle everything that is thrown at them. Again, because of those high crit damage skills and just ability to depend on their pets. Skills like Megavore really do help out, being able to just constantly get crit hit chances on targets and just do a whole lot of damage. It's different action skills such as Rack Attack. You have Fade Away so that you're able to go invisible and do extra critical hit damage. You have Gravity Snare to pull in enemies and stop them from moving. And then also Gamma Burst to just take advantage of that high radiation damage. Now, the biggest reason why we put Flak at number 4 is because of this purple tree. And unfortunately, its inability to really add anything to Flak versus the other 3 characters that when they got their purple tree, it really did kind of elevate this character and make them a whole lot better. Even with that, the base game skill tree for Flak is insanely strong and something that I will always say is like a great option for anybody who is just wanting to have fun in the main story and also be able to take on pretty much any endgame content once they reach that point. At number 3, we have the melee siren Amara on this list. Amara is insanely strong for the fact that, again, she really focuses into that melee damage and taking advantage of insane status effect damage. It's actually been one of the strongest characters in the game since the get-go. If you follow creators like Moxie, obviously he was able to pretty fast in the game find out that Amara is insanely strong and take advantage of her different phase grasping abilities. Being able to chain different enemies together with something like phase grasp and share all that damage between them is insanely strong for endgame content and ad clearing, especially whenever you're like focusing on like a certain boss or something like that that's got a lot of enemies nearby. It's going to be able to pretty much nuke everyone and pretty much get you through whatever you're needing. Now, even though Amara is at the number 3 spot, she is insanely strong, but the reason why we really put her here is mainly just because me personally, I find a lot of her skills confusing, and it tends to be one of those things that I think is like not really new player friendly, just because of the fact that you're having to balance so many different status effect skills, stacking certain abilities to, obviously elevate something else in your build. It just can get really confusing at times and just be a little bit of a pain. Also, the fact that so many of her skills are based into melee damage makes it a little bit odd at times for certain endgame bosses. But at the same time, even with that, she's able to literally handle everything. Even if you're able to take advantage of something like her phase flare, which is an absolute stupid skill where it's able to create that orb that's just going to just like melt enemies over time. It's just really awesome to see. But at the same time, again, there's 2 other Vault Hunters ahead of her that are just a little bit better and able to take on endgame content with a lot more ease without going down as much. At number 2, we have the mech character Mose, who is an absolute booming, exploding, amazing character in the game. Yes, I know it's very cringe what I just said, but Mose is really, insanely good in this game. Taking advantage of skills like Torque, Cross Promotion, and Short Fuse essentially makes any weapon that you give Mo's an absolute exploding, just like end game viable weapon, just for the fact that you're able to take advantage of a lot of explosions, a lot of extra fire damage on literally everything, and also taking advantage of your Iron Bear. I really don't have anything negative to say about Mo's other than like maybe some skills in her purple tree, but the addition of something like Iron Cub, where I'm not having to just like sit in Iron Bear to do like any of my action skill stuff, I can just spawn this little homie that's gonna run around with me and take advantage of all those abilities, is absolutely insane. Probably the biggest issue that I do have with Mo's is the fact that her different abilities are going to mayhem scale off the freaking charts, and a lot of times kind of be a negative to you, blowing you up, and also pretty much making certain, you know, end game runs a little bit more difficult. But at the same time, you're able to take advantage of being able to like chuck grenades constantly, use those grenades to get different healing effects as well, and also be able to just, again, handle any in-game content with little to no issue whatsoever, and pretty much being able to use whatever weapon you're really wanting. Also being able to take advantage of different like random, you know, glitchy spaghetti throughout the game, because of how strong the explosions that she provides is absolutely awesome, and just, you know, it makes her just a big fan favorite of mine especially. And at number 1, we have Zane. Now, the biggest reason why we're picking Zane is because of the fact that it has access to pretty much any type of thing that you really need in the game. Blue Tree, Violent Speed, and Violent Momentum are great for just constantly sprinting around and getting more damage because of it. You have Lifesteal with Salvation. You have Seeing Red that is able to constantly activate all your kill skills and give them bonus effects. More gun damage in your Red Tree. You're able to take advantage of a lot of shield effects and cryo in Green Tree, and take advantage of critical hit stuff in the Purple Tree. And also the Mantis Shoulder Cannon was absolutely a busted choice to add to this character, because you're able to just constantly activate those kill skills by just simply shooting your Mantis Cannon. Not to mention that something like Eraser is going to absolutely just bust this character, essentially giving Zane that bore effect that Zero had from Borderlands 2. It's just a really strong character, and I just really don't see at this point like who is able to really stand up to just the ease this character is able to add to any endgame content. Now, I want you guys to let me know down below who is your favorite character in Borderlands 3 and who you think is the best, and is there any characters that you are wanting certain builds for? I've recently done one for Zane and Mo's. I'm thinking about doing one for Flak, thinking about doing one for Amara, but pretty much just going based off of, you know, what really people are wanting at this moment. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure you're liking the video, commenting down below, subscribing, become a member, and follow me over on YouTube and Twitter at Byrdman778. Hope you have a great night, day, or whatever it may be.